believe in the Constitution. I believe the Constitution is divinely inspired, and I believe it's the rule book for us. And it doesn't matter how many people ask you to break the rules, it's still breaking the rules. And I believe, as James Madison said in Federalist 45, here's James Madison, the father of the Constitution. He said, the powers delegated to the federal government are few and defined. The powers delegated to the states are indefinite. So I'm a firm believer in smaller government, controlled government, constitutionally limited government, and the answer to that one is easy. I will not vote for something that violates the Constitution, period. I'm a staunch believer in that. Here in the state of Utah, I've been ranked as one of the most constitutionally minded legislators. I want to take that back to Washington, D.C. Let me just take one more question because we have to wrap up soon. One more question. Shirley, you haven't asked one yet. Everybody hear her? She said, what do I feel about term limits for Congress? I am a supporter of term limits. And I have to tell you, I used to take the position of George Washington, who said we have term limits. 2 years for the House, 6 years for the Senate. I still, in my heart, kind of feel that, yeah, that's true. The people need to be more engaged and kick people out when they are no longer doing the job. However, I have also come to realize that the amount of money, the amount of corruption that occurs, it just extends itself and it perpetuates itself the longer you're in Congress. And so I do believe in term limits. I do believe and would vote to support term limits.
I would say 2 times, but not like strong term limits 100 years old.
Yeah, no, reasonable term limits are absolutely something that I would support. I absolutely do support them. So, let me wrap up by saying this, and I'll stick around. We do have a little bit of time after I end. That's why I'm wanting to end now, so we can just kind of mix and mingle a little bit. I want to end by saying this. Again, I want you to look at my record, because people will say one thing, but records don't lie. Over the last 5 years in the legislature, I have stood strong on constitutional conservative principles. When it came to the fight against Obamacare, I was there. When it came to the fight against labor unions, I was there. When it came to the fight against tax increases, I was there, even in the midst of tremendous pressure and threats. Threats to kill every one of my bills, threats to remove me from the committees, and threats to even kick me out of my office. I still remember the conversation I had with someone in leadership that isn't there anymore, who threatened to remove me from my office if I didn't vote for a particular tax increase. So we're going to put me in the hallway with a beanbag chair. Okay? I stood strong. I have stood strong against my own party. I have stood strong against my own leadership when I've had to. And I will do the same in Washington, D.C. I plan on going there for a short period of time, trying to get the job done, working hard to get the job done, and come home and live my wife's dream for once. My wife has this dream of moving to a small town and having a little piece of land and having a few chickens and a garden. And I had to promise her that I'd only serve, talking about term limits, I had to promise her I'd only serve 12 years. And I'm going to keep that commitment to her, because she has given up and sacrificed so much for this. And she knows it's the right thing to do. You see, it's the right thing to do because our future is at stake. The future of this nation is at stake. My grandmother died not too long ago, and she was really old. She was in her mid-90s, I think. I don't know for sure her precise age, but she had been around a long time. And I was very close with her. We were good friends. And when she passed on, the thought occurred to me that her generation, she was part of that, the greatest generation. Her generation, she was able to go to her grave knowing that she had left this country better than she found it. When we're in the twilight of our life, will we be able to look back at our generation and say the same thing? That's what keeps me up at night. It's what wakes me in the morning. I never want to be standing in front of, I never want to be at the end of my life and look at my kids and tell them that I didn't do everything I could to defend their liberty and freedom. And I'm going to do it. And with your help, we're going to do it. I do need your help. There's a big movement by certain people to keep me out of office, to make it so I don't win. But we're ahead right now. And if I could just say this, give me 1 minute to tell you why I believe I'm the candidate to defeat Jim Matheson. For the first time ever, I believe that we have a situation where we can actually defeat Jim Matheson. I want to give you 6 quantifiable reasons, things that you can measure as to why we're retiring Jim Matheson this year, and I believe I'm the candidate to do it. Number 1, I was born, raised, grew up, worked, and have raised my family in the 4th Congressional District. I know this district better than any of the other candidates in this race. Jim Matheson doesn't even live in the 4th District, yet he's running in the 4th District. Secondly, Morgan Philpott brought Jim Matheson within 4%. He lost to Jim Matheson by 4%. Morgan was never able to raise enough money to get on TV. TV advertising is huge during an election because, unlike you, most people make their decision based on a 30-second commercial. Well, I've raised $250,000 already, and it's not even caucus night. I'm on track to have 300,000 before convention, and I'm on track to have $1 million before the race is over. And this is the best part. Almost all of it is coming from individual citizens here in Utah. We have over 600 individual citizens who have donated to our campaign. They've opened their wallets and they bring a $5 check, a $50 check, a $100 check, and it adds up. We've had some bigger donors too, but they're individual citizens right here in Utah. So we're going to have the money. Jim Matheson will not be able to outspend me 10-1 like he has everyone else in the last decade. We have the backing. In the first time in a decade, all of the major organizations, the conservative organizations, are uniting behind one candidate. I'm fortunate enough to be that candidate. I've been endorsed by Senator Mike Lee, Club for Growth, Citizens United, Eagle Forum, Concerned Women for America, Gun Owners of America, the Madison Project, and just today I was endorsed by ROCPAC, Repeal Obamacare Political Action Committee. All of the conservative organizations have aligned behind one candidate to defeat Jim Matheson. We have the organization and the structure to defeat him. I have the same campaign consultants and managers that Senator Mike Lee had. We have a winning team. We have, this is the most humbling part of the entire thing. We have over 200 active volunteers on this campaign. We have built what is possibly the biggest grassroots structure of any congressional race in recent memory. I believe that we're going to retire Jim Matheson this year, and I believe it's going to be me that does it, but I can't do it without your help. There's a sign-up sheet that came around. I need 2 things more than anything. If you believe in the things that I've talked about, if you believe that I represent your views, if you believe that we think similarly, I need you to sign up and run as a delegate on March 15th. I need you to go to your caucus meeting and run as a state delegate. We need you. I need you. The country needs you. Secondly, we need volunteers. We're building the biggest, like I told you, the biggest grassroots coalition of volunteers of any congressional race. But it doesn't happen without you. And so on the sign-up sheet, their sign-up sheets are back here. There's another one floating around here. Back here, Cammie has it. If you would not mind filling that out and checking a couple boxes, if you are willing to run as a delegate, check that box. If you're willing to put a sign up, check that box. If you're willing to make a few phone calls for us, check that box. You know how many phone calls we made for this event this week? We made about 2,000 phone calls. About 2,000 personal phone calls from my campaign team. I personally made about 950 phone calls myself. As you know, most of you were personally called by me. We need more callers. We need more people who are involved and engaged and excited to take back this district from Jim Matheson. With that, I want to say God bless you. Thank you so much for being here. I'm going to hang out for another 10 or 15 minutes, answer any other questions you might have, but you can mix and mingle as well, and then we have to be out of here no later than 2:30 because there's another group coming. Thank you so much. Thank you.